On this day, 10 years ago at 5:41 p.m., a nearly mile-wide EF5 tornado tore a 6-mile-long path through the heart of Joplin, taking with it 161 lives. Now, 10 years later, community remembers those lost and looks toward the future. This is a special edition of the KOAM News at 6. I'm Chris Warner. We have coverage from today's ceremony, but before we get to that, we check in with meteorologist Nick Kelly for a quick check of our forecast. Nick?
Even though we had to deal with rain chances today, Chris, our weather was pretty quiet overall for today. No thunderstorms to worry about, and thankfully, nice to see peaks of the sun with some cloud cover trying to hold on from 7th and Range Line. We had quite a bit of rain on the radar this morning, but just seeing a few showers out there right now. We'll still hold on to some cloud cover throughout the evening hours, and I think for most of us, we'll be dry for this evening until another shot of rain tries to work in by tomorrow morning at the earliest. Temperatures, though, nice to see them finally rebound into the mid to upper 70s for most, while we still have a few upper 60s in some of our northern counties. Overall, though, temperatures will fall through the 70s, upper 60s by 10 o'clock, down to about the mid 60s during the overnight. And again, Chris, I think we're dry for the overnight, but I have maybe a few storms in the forecast tomorrow, but we'll break down the rest of the week ahead and look back on the storm 10 years ago coming up in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. Well, today marks 10 years since the skies darkened over Joplin and Mother Nature unleashed her fury. The community is coming together to mark that day with a special ceremony. We begin at Cunningham Park, where those 161 lives who were lost are being honored. People have come from all over the area and all over the country, as many who came back 10 years ago come back. More than 75,000 volunteers came to Joplin 10 years ago, all with the goal of helping the city recover. Convoy of Hope was among several organizations that came to Joplin to help in the immediate and long-term recovery. The organization was here right after the tornado, helping with cleanup and aiding first responders. The months and years after, they helped build several new houses. One of the members who was here 10 years ago says it's a good feeling to be back.
Just to be here today and see people telling stories, and even for our team telling stories of the people that we met and the stories, and even some of the homes that we built for. Even one of the homeowners is here today that we met a decade ago and built a home for, and so that's pretty cool to see that stuff take place as well.
Tonight at 10, we'll hear from someone from Convoy of Hope, how they helped, and from the former mayor on the impact all of the volunteers had on the recovery. Community awareness and preparedness is also a big part of this year's anniversary. Several organizations like the American Red Cross, Convoy of Hope, and the Salvation Army and others were on hand to provide information about their services. All of them played a vital role in the response to the disaster and want to make sure that residents know they're still here to help, no matter what happens.
It's a highly emotional time, and when we are in our emotions, it's real easy to slip into fear and worry, right? And so getting this information, learning where support services are, it only helps to shore up our peace and calm and avoid some of that anxiety.
Now, today was also the annual Joplin Memorial Run. Thousands of runners from 25 states and even some from across the globe came to run and remember the lives lost on May 22nd. Now, due to work on the Cornell complex in downtown, the race was moved to Cunningham Park, which is considered by many to be ground zero for the tornado. One runner we spoke with says it's great to be able to take part in remembering and reflecting.
It's a special feeling because you know of the 161 people that lost their lives and their families that have still survived. It's really special. It touches your heart.
This year's event included 5 different runs. Well, at today's ceremony, many friends and family members of those who didn't make it through that day gathered to honor their memories. To honor them, visitors were seen walking through different areas of Cunningham Park, which holds significance as it was, again, ground zero of that event. Throughout the park are the names of those who lost their lives 10 years ago, honoring their memories and showing that the people of Joplin have not forgotten about them.
Flags are here that have been used for the Joplin Memorial Run for the last 10 years, and they are the 161 names, and they are on display here to do a memorial walkthrough at people wish their own pace. The bronze plaque is here with the names of the 161 on it, the fountain, which was put in the first year anniversary.
Now, city officials say not only is it important to remember those lost 10 years ago, but also everyone who is still healing due to loss and this tragic event. We do take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Sergeant Charles Bandy served in the Army from 1941 to 1945, his hometown, Joplin. We are proud to recognize Sergeant Charles Bandy, tonight's four-state hero. More special coverage still ahead on the KOAM News at 6 as meteorologist Nick Kelly breaks down the weather dynamics of May 22nd. Welcome back to our special edition of the KOAM News at 6. Meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now with a breakdown of the weather dynamics that led to the tornado on May 22nd. So, Nick, how did that day start out?
Well, to break it all down, Chris, let's look at the bigger setup at the upper levels. We're looking at the jet stream, 18,000 feet up in the air. We had a potent upper level low well to the north, but even at that position, we had several waves rotating and following along the jet stream with, by the way, westerly winds at that level. We stepped down to the 700 millibar level, 10,000 feet, another upper low, more southwesterly winds aloft. At the surface, this was unfortunately a textbook setup where cold front, we were well ahead of that. We had a dry line and a low pressure center with winds at the southeast at the surface. It was coming together for severe thunderstorm development, now, not just for us. It extended all the way up into Illinois and the upper Midwest, but we were definitely weather aware with at least a moderate risk for severe weather back on that May 22nd, 2011, and made the more obvious when that tornado watch went out at 1:30. Now, there was a threat for tornadoes, but the tornado probabilities favored maybe a strong tornado or two possible, but they really highlighted the destructive hail, and that's certainly what started off with this thunderstorm working over Wilson and Neosho counties at 2:30. This was the first severe thunderstorm warning of the afternoon. This doesn't look impressive now, but let's fast forward. Here's 4:04. We see the hook developing on the southwest side here, and here plenty of hail, so no doubt a tornado warning with that, as we see a little bit of rotation picking up just west of Parsons. Fast forward to 4:35. This is when Springfield comes into play as they issued a tornado warning for Cherokee County. Still picking up impressive reflectivity structure, definitely had the hail signatures, but we did pick up some rotation south of McCune and west of Columbus, when you could argue still a little rotation in parts of Lebec County. Fast forward to 5:11. At this point, the original circulation did prompt a tornado warning for northern parts of Jasper County, but that was being disrupted by a new storm that would merge with the supercell coming out near Pitcher and Quapaw. And as a result, we see the rotation really picking up near Baxter Springs. So at 5:17, that was when the tornado warning went out for Cherokee, Jasper, and Newton counties to cover the Joplin area. And we see that hook still there over Galena, and definitely the rotation there at 5:29 that Sunday evening. Here's 5:34, the storm. Unfortunately, strong rotation there, started touching down, and then come 5:39, this is where we had the rotation, still strong, but entering the southwestern parts of the city of Joplin. And wanted to fast forward here to 5:48, Chris. At this point, this is before we had dual polar radar to confirm if we could use correlation coefficient to tell if tornado debris is being detected. Right. But with this storm, you didn't need to, unfortunately. This bright reflectivity return here, normally you associate that with hail in the hail core of the storm, but that, with very strong rotation, that was tremendous debris being picked up as a tornado was tearing through the southern parts of Joplin. Fast forward to 5:58, still on the ground, but it started to take a jog toward the southeast. Definitely weaker rotation at that point. The tornado was out of Joplin and finally, thankfully, on the weakening trend before it lifted as it went into northern parts of Newton County. So overall, you can see touchdown near Annalise and John Duffy Drive. That's where EF1 damage began. Strengthened to an EF3 as it crossed over, I want to say that's 32nd and Schifferdecker. And as soon as it hit St. John's, that's when it grew to the EF5 tornado status, coming along 20th, passing range line. And once it got past East Middle School, Chris, it finally died as it lifted near Highway J. So overall, Chris, this was a tornado on the ground for 38 minutes, 22 miles long in its length, and the costliest tornado in history with almost $3 billion in damage.
And I know a lot of people, they focus on that portion where it ran through Joplin. They don't realize that this sucker had that kind of strength to keep going for as long as it did after it left the city, even though it was weakening as time went on.
Yeah, and not only that, as it was going through the city, Chris, even if you weren't directly in the path of it, we were looking from the tower cam that day. Of course, I wasn't here, but Doug and Brian Davis were. We had debris being wafted towards 7th Street, so you were probably a mile outside of it, and you were still getting debris falling from the skies it was passing through.
An impressive storm altogether, and one we hopefully will not see again.
Absolutely.
And speaking of that forecast coming up right after this, Nick Kelly's going to break down what we've got going on next week.
Well, we are very, very thankful that Mother Nature didn't give us any thunderstorms to worry about today. We, unfortunately, did have to start with plenty of light to moderate rain this morning. Fortunately, this did not last all day long. Once it popped up on top of us this morning and lifted out, we're starting to get a chance to dry things out again and finally seeing some peaks of the sun. And in terms of the amount of rainfall, this didn't amount to much, really. You can see area-wide average, just 1/10 of an inch. But overall, anybody that saw the rain from this morning didn't see amounts total much more than about 1/2 inch of rainfall. In the short term, over the past 6 hours with this view of the storm tracker, again, the remaining showers that we had pretty much fallen apart as they continue to lift north. I am trying to keep an eye on maybe a few showers trying to come up 69 south of Bonita. In general, though, most spots are thankfully turning a bit dry during the 6 o'clock hour. And again, still nice to see the sun after we had quite a cloudy and rainy start this morning. 76 in Joplin with the calm breeze. Humidity is a little bit high, but not too terrible at 76%. Plus, most areas along the south of 44. It's nice to see readings in the middle of the upper 70s. Granted, a few upper 60s around Nyola and Fort Scott. In general, though, we are going to see temperatures fall back into the mid-60s overnight, even with some mostly cloudy skies in place, and a bit of a break in our rain chances. Fortunately, any thunderstorms or severe threats well to the west of us, with severe thunderstorm and tornado watches stretching from Nebraska all the way down to eastern parts of New Mexico. This is all along and ahead of a front that won't come into the equation in terms of our forecast until next Tuesday. In the short term, we're still watching this slow upper level low try to bring that next front our way. In the meantime, this upper level ridge is still trying to eat away at some of our rain chances, but this little low north of Houston, make that south of Houston, still trying to pull in more moisture. So we'll have to use that to keep mostly cloudy skies in the forecast this evening. And in general, most of us a dry evening. But once we hit 6 a.m., wouldn't be surprised if we had scattered showers again during the morning hours, then maybe a couple of thunderstorms during the afternoon. But I do anticipate with some returning sun, we should go a little warmer tomorrow. 67 in the morning, 74 by noon. Looking okay temperature-wise tomorrow, with highs expected to top out around 79. I think we're in good shape. Once we start Sunday evening, we'll say Monday morning, most of us dry. Can't rule out a random storm for your Monday. Otherwise, we'll see highs pushing back near 80 with partly sunny skies. But looking ahead past Monday, these upper level lows will push that next front our way. And as they continue to send impulses along the jet stream, we'll have thunderstorm chances to keep an eye on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, everything as we go into the start of our Memorial Day weekend. Despite all those thunderstorm chances lining up, we are going to keep warm. 79 tomorrow, back near 80 Monday and Tuesday, then mainly lower 80s from Wednesday to take us into the holiday weekend. So Chris, even though we had to deal with rain today, we'll take that compared to what happened 10 years ago and even what Carl Junction had to deal with 2 years ago on this very night.
Yeah, this night is much quieter compared to what we had. Unfortunately, though, it looks like a busy week ahead. Even though temperatures are getting back to normal, we look like we're in for some bumpy ride.
But something that we'll definitely stay on top of.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. We've got Danny Terzer up next with a look at sports.
Pittsburgh State survived not just one, but 2 elimination games on Friday, battling their way to a spot in the MIAA championship game, a rematch against Central Missouri. The Gorillas fell to the Mules 9-5 on Thursday. Today, UCM leads 6-1 in the 5th. As the pitch comes in, Micah Evans takes off from third. He is safe, steals home. What a play. Then Cruz Aranda finds a gap in center. Mason Hartman comes around to score. Mules don't let up though. Next inning, Evans goes back up the middle, and that scores 2. Central Missouri rolls by Pittsburgh State 11-2 to claim the MIAA title. The Rough Riders are headed to Grand Junction. Crowder tops Eastern Oklahoma today 9-4 to win the South Central District title and advance to the World Series. The 26-5 Webb City Cardinals host Glendale today. The Cardinals beat the Falcons 14-2 during the regular season. In this second matchup, though, there's a bit more at stake. The Cardinals look to claim the district title and earn a spot in the state tournament. Top of the 5th, this ball is popped up high. Cade Wilson makes a diving catch for the out. The game's still scoreless. Then Brooks Kettering hits it out to center. That's good for a double. And here comes Zach Beatty all the way from first to score. Falcons with the 1-run lead. Cards trying to respond, but it's a chopper to the third baseman. Glendale turns a big double play to end the inning. Carter Lewis is fired up. Webb City never gets going. They drop this one 2-0. And that's it for sports. We'll be back with more special coverage after this.
Nick Kelly back with the last check of that forecast.
I think we're in good shape for this evening, Chris. We'll see if we can get a few showers back in here by tomorrow morning, and then some scattered storms possible tomorrow afternoon. But with partly sunny skies, we should see highs back near 80, taking us through Tuesday. But once we hit Tuesday through the rest of next week, those are thunderstorm chances we'll have to keep an eye on.
All right, Nick, thank you. And we'll have more coverage from today's events tonight at 10. Before we go, we leave you with a special tribute to those lost on May 22nd.